What up, Dragon Ballers? This is going to be my episode review for Dragon Ball Daima episode number 6 called Lightning. In this episode, we learn about the history of the Glints a little bit more. We get a major revelation about something that a lot of us have been suspecting for some time now, and we get an awesome new fight. So if you guys have been enjoying all of the Daima content on the channel, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. I've covered the previous 5 episodes, and I will continue to do so for the entirety of this series. And obviously, major spoilers ahead. So you've been warned. Without further ado, let's jump into it. So we pick up right from the last episode as the crew is crash landing from having carried too much stuff on the ship. And after they crash land, like the little systems confirm that there's just too much stuff on the ship. Toiletries, supplies, water, all sorts of things that Pansy brought. So as Pansy is about to start repairs, she asks Goku about why Goku calls Shin a Kai. And so Goku quickly explains how Shin is the supreme Kai in their world, which is the strongest among all the Kais, which actually now has me wondering what exactly is the origin behind the Kais, like the Glints becoming Kais. I would love to learn more about that because they left the demon world for the outside world. So what exactly happened that made them become like the gods of creation? I hope that they talk about that at some point because I want to know more. And if there is any like outside source material, feel free to share that because I don't know all that stuff. I'm just a fan watching these episodes for the first time. Goku's stomach starts to rumble after explaining about the Kai stuff to Pansy, and we learn that it's not because he's hungry, but because he has to poop. So Pansy chucks a wad of toilet paper at him, and he goes around to the nearest plant and he begins pooping. As he's doing that, the other three have to stand before a ship that is approaching them, which actually turns out to be one of the gendarmerie scouting planes. 2 soldiers step out, they confront the 3 and ask them if they had seen a spiky-haired kid with a red stick. And if they did and turned him in, they would get 10 coins, which I thought was a very RPG-like touch. They said no, and then the soldiers took off. So very obviously, they did not recognize Glorio or Pansy or Shin. They only care about the kid that beat them up. The 3 of them obviously say no, but I was originally thinking that as they were saying no, Goku was gonna step back out, having finished going to the bathroom, and then a fight was going to ensue. But thankfully, that didn't happen. As the plane takes off and goes away, Goku returns, and then once the repairs are done with their ship, they also take off. As they begin flying once again, Pansy asks Shin if Glints are really born from trees. Turns out they are. Shin says that they are born once every few centuries from the Glint tree. And we get to see a shot of the Glint tree, or a couple of them, and they look like giant radishes, I guess? They're like colored like eggplants, but they look like radishes. They're plants, essentially. Dagesu was born from the same tree as Shin only 216 years later, which is why he is considered Shin's younger brother. Goku then asks if Kibito or the Elder Kai are also related to him, but then Shin says that they are from one of the other 4 Glint trees. So there is a total of 5 Glint trees where every Kai has come from. Pansy then asks why Dagesu decided to stay in the demon realm instead of leaving with the other Glints. Shin says Dagesu was very ambitious and didn't get along with others, which still doesn't quite answer the question, but I guess that's all we're gonna get for now. And then Pansy also asks about Arinsu. Arinsu is Shin's older sister, and as an ambitious individual, she chose to stay in the excitement of the demon realm. That was what he said. He also says that Glints don't have a gender, so they aren't exactly men or women, which I think also applies to angels. I think like Whis, Margarita, Vados, all of them, are they technically, I think they're genderless as well. I think they exhibit like physical traits of men and women, but they don't actually have a gender, I think. Goku says, man, your siblings are problematic. As he's saying that, and Shin's like, yeah, there's a shot of Glorio where his eyes kind of squint a little bit. It's that classic anime trope where when someone's eyes squint just a little bit, it's kind of like they're thinking about something. So once again, we're feeding back into that suspicion. Glorio, there's something going on with Glorio that we don't quite know yet. As night falls, they set up camp in a nearby cave. They start eating some food. It looks like a can of Spam, but it's actually like ground up centipede meat or something like that. You get to see a shot of Shin looking at the can with a very disgusted look, which I thought was funny. And you even get to see like a little symbol on the can. It's like, I think it's like a disclaimer with an evil face on it, which I thought was funny. As Goku falls asleep from the food coma, Pansy then asks about Glorio, and how Glorio is from the first world. Back when they were confronted by the soldiers asked the three of them where they're from. Glorio had said from the first world, Pansy said from the third world, and Shin said from the second world. So Pansy wanted to follow up about that, and Glorio said that he was hired by someone high up and currently lives in the first world. Now this one made me think, because King Kadan is not from the first world. King Kadan is from the third world. So him being hired by someone from the first world has to mean something. And so the first thing that I thought of was King Goma. So now I'm thinking Glorio works for King Goma. How? Why? I don't know, but there's gotta be something there. Shin then asks Glorio why he wants to defeat King Goma. Glorio says it's because he is an evil person who makes all Majin suffer. He seemed to say this with a lot of sincerity, so Shin bought it, and I'm gonna say I bought it as well. As everyone fell asleep, we noticed that Glorio's actually not asleep with Shin, Pansy, or Goku. Glorio's actually outside of the cave, communicating with someone. This is the big revelation. Glorio has been talking to Arinsu on a little communicator device. So seeing this, my gut instinct was that, okay, Glorio's working for King Goma, but I feel like there's a little bit more nuance to it because he's talking to Arinsu. Arinsu is far more calculating. She's the scientist. She has different goals and different ambitions. So I feel like Glorio talking to Arinsu doesn't necessarily mean that he's evil and he's up to no good. There might be something a little bit different going on here that's not entirely aligned with the heroes, but not exactly villainous either. But we'll see. As Glorio is walking back into the cave and lying down, Shin opens one eye. This sort of signified that he wasn't necessarily fully asleep, but I don't know if he heard what Glorio was talking about. Had that been Piccolo with them, Piccolo would have heard it, but I don't think Shin could have heard. After a little while, as Glorio is also now resting, something starts walking towards them from within the cave. Something very large and very stinky starts walking towards them. Glorio wakes up upon hearing the stomping and tries to wake everybody else up. They notice the smell, at which point Pansy tries to smell Goku, thinking it might be Goku, but it's not him. It's funny, during this whole episode, they were kind of playing into how Goku's not exactly the most hygienic little boy. They're kind of leaning into the fact that Goku's a kid now. Goku says he doesn't wash his hands after going to the bathroom. Goku doesn't shower every day. They were kind of really leaning into that this episode. And they were also doing this little thing where Goku was mispronouncing Glorio's name, which is also a very infantile thing. A lot of kids will mispronounce names, and this was starting to really eat away at Glorio. But anyway, a giant Minotaur was approaching them. Minotaur? As Goku wakes up, he sees a giant Minotaur approaching the four of them. Goku then says, "Oh, it's just a cow. Don't worry about it." Goku and the Minotaur then start arguing about whether or not he's a Minotaur or a cow. As Goku and the Minotaur are arguing, Glorio then says to the Minotaur, "Hey, let's step outside. Let's settle this." And as the Minotaur is about to respond, Goku then tells Glorio, "Listen, man, I don't think you can handle this. Let me fight him." And then Glorio and Goku start to get into a little bit of an exchange where Glorio says, "Oh, you think I can't handle him? You vastly underestimate my abilities." And Goku's like, "Well, yeah, I'm stronger than you." And then Glorio's like, "All right, you know what? You and I, let's step outside." And so all of a sudden, the Minotaur, along with Pansy and Shin, are sidelined watching Goku and Glorio go at it. And it was such a funny exchange. You have to watch that. But I think that's my favorite part of the episode, honestly. The Minotaur going from the big bad of the episode to an afterthought was hilarious. The way that they did that was really, really good. After the one-armed Goku and Glorio exchange a couple hits here and there, Glorio steps back and charges up a magic blast. And I like the touch that they gave to it visually. Because it's made of magic and not just straight up ki, you see the energy signature sort of a little bit more electric. I think that's probably where the episode name Lightning comes from. There's a lot of lightning discharge coming from this blast that is forming at the tip of Glorio's finger. As Glorio fires it at Goku, Goku dodges it, and he realizes, wow, this is actually a pretty strong blast. I did not expect that. Shin then urgently yells to Goku that Goku needs to take this fight more seriously so that they can see how strong Glorio truly is. And the fact that Shin is the one telling Goku that really leans to the fact that Shin is very suspicious of Glorio, and there is not a whole lot that they know, and they need to know more. So then Goku immediately gets more serious, and he starts fighting with his power pole, so he charges against Glorio. Glorio starts fighting back with more magic blasts. Now he's firing magic blasts through each finger, and he's kind of moving them around like you would move around wires, which I thought was a very nice touch. And then he uses a magical whip to disarm Goku. So Goku now loses his power pole, and Glorio is charging one final blast. Goku goes Super Saiyan. He charges up his arm, then he charges up his whole body, and he goes Super Saiyan and stays Super Saiyan for the duration of this fight. As Glorio charges up that blast and fires it at Goku, it actually thins out and concentrates into a beam. Goku then, with his Super Saiyan form, punches the beam and completely neutralizes it, which is something that we saw in trailer footage and promo footage. And that is where the fight ends. Glorio sees that Goku is able to effortlessly stop his attack. Goku then teleports right behind Glorio, and instead of knocking him out, he just places his hand on his back and he says, "Haha, I gotcha." Glorio then surrenders. All the while, during this entire fight, you get to see various shots of the Minotaur absolutely dumbfounded, stunned, shocked, horrified at what he's seeing. He quickly realizes that they are way out of his league, so when they come back to group up with the others, the Minotaur says, yeah, I'm still very full from having fought this beast earlier and beat it. I'm gonna go bye. I kind of wish he was part of the group, to be honest, because I thought that he was a pretty nice addition to that episode. But he runs off. We actually switch over to the lookout, where Vegeta is training and Bulma is still working on repairs. Bulma actually finishes repairing the ship, and Piccolo, Vegeta, and Kibito board the ship and are getting ready to leave. Now, when I saw this happening, I was thinking to myself, wait a second, where's Bulma? Bulma's supposed to be with them because we see that in the end credits sequence, but Bulma's not on the ship. So I kind of had a feeling something was coming, and it turns out Bulma's repairs were not enough. The ship crashes after floating for a couple of seconds, and that's where the episode ends. Overall, this episode to me felt very similar to the last episode in that it kind of hit the similar beats. We travel for a very limited amount of time. We meet a couple new characters, only here we only met one. There's some more world building, some more exposition, and then it kind of culminates into a fight. It might be a little bit reductive, kind of boiling it down to those terms, but that's kind of how it felt to me. And I feel like some people will probably use that as a reasoning for not liking the episode. The reason why I thoroughly enjoyed this episode is because with this revelation of Glorio being a double agent, it has me wondering what exactly is Glorio's motivation to be working with Arinsu? What are the terms of this working relationship? Is it because Arinsu is holding someone Glorio cares about hostage? How is this going to come back in some sort of major breaking point? Because at some point, I'm sure Shin and the others are going to learn that Glorio has been working for the other side the whole time. So how is that rising tension going to affect the dynamic between these three? When I say these three, I mean Shin, Goku, and Glorio. Goku likes Glorio, but I think Goku is also getting on Glorio's nerves quite a bit. Over the last couple episodes, Goku has been mispronouncing his name, but Glorio doesn't like it. And I feel like part of that is why they had that little moment in the episode where Glorio said, you know what, let's fight. Because I think Glorio is starting to get fed up with Goku. Also with Shin now asking more questions, being a little bit more suspicious of Glorio waking up or not exactly sleeping, kind of paying attention to the little things that Glorio does. Something is amiss, and I don't know if Shin will be the first to expose Glorio or will Glorio come forward. I don't know. And that's what I care about. I don't care about the meeting with Goma. I don't care about anything else, honestly. I just want to know what happens here with Glorio and who breaks first. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I'm gonna give this episode probably a B+. Give me more Minotaur. Let the Minotaur come back. I need more Minotaur. He kind of had some Hercule vibes towards the end there, but I thought that the voice actor did a really good job. That voice sounds very familiar. The Japanese voice actor for the Minotaur is very familiar. I've heard him somewhere before and I can't quite put my finger on it. I gotta look up who he is. Anyway, those are my thoughts on the episode. I like it. Did you? Feel free to share your own thoughts in the comments down below. Let me know if there's anything that I missed, any Easter eggs, any fun little nods. Feel free to share them, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned, and always remember to Daima responsibly.